All right.
Well, I am going to keep eating.
Yeah, me too.
Or you can have some of that.
All right, that's that. And
How's it going, Granddad?
Good.
Excellent.
You're not very bright in that corner.
It's so that we can plug the Zoom into the TV screen so we can get a better view of the rocket.
Is there any way you can shade the window behind you?
Mom and Granddad. You hearing me, Mom?
Yes. Yeah, I'm hearing you.
I went into Student Affairs today and asked about getting Granddad a accommodation seat for the graduation, and they said that because it's at the rodeo center, there's a special section for that, and I don't have to request it, and they're not accepting requests.
Okay, well, thank you.
And I asked them if they knew if I was going to be at 9 a.m. graduation or 2 p.m. graduation, and they still did not know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully it's 2 p.m. just so y'all don't have to leave at 7.
Brad, you might want to graduate twice.
You laugh, but I was looking over the graduation list, and half the people on it graduated last semester.
Oh, because they didn't have a graduation.
I think people who graduated last spring are being allowed to walk today if they want to.
I walked a year before I graduated. That's efficiency.
You want to get the hard things out of the way first.
Like graduating.
Yeah. Graduating is really hard, so you want to do that first.
I mean, they were going to give me at least one of those degrees.
Should I text Keith?
Yes.
I'm going to text Keith too.
Back.
Hold on, let me check something.
You know, everyone can hear that.
Everyone.
I can hear it twice.
It's because she pressed the button twice.
Mark has a keyboard that plays sound effects instead of...
I have a soundboard.
I saw a tray, correct? Right, Rose?
He's just in the kitchen making food.
Yep.
What kind of food?
I think he's making microwavable tacos.
Is he making enough for all of us?
Only if you ask nicely. He says he'll mail them to you, but I don't know if you want it. He's just doing ranch-style beans and cheese.
They're so good.
Well,
so ranch-style beans is just black beans and ranch, right?
Tacos are already basically envelopes for meat and taco ingredients. So
you're thinking burritos.
Chili beans. They have nothing to do with the actual ranch salad dressing.
Is it just the brand or something?
Yeah, it's what they're called. It's like chili and beans. I don't even think it's a black bean. I think it's a kidney bean.
It's a pinto bean.
I apologize. It's a pinto bean. Spiced pinto beans. I can't eat them, so I don't.
The third best of the beans.
Oh, the humble Lima never gets its due.
Well, we should probably
says Dad, who
begin as soon as Joellen gets back. Oh, we should wait for Trey, duh.
Or Keith.
Oh, you sent him a text, yeah?
Wait, hold on. Although I may have been confused for an animal many times for my uncouth habits, I have as of yet not been extended a formal invitation to the standalone exhibit at the local zoo. I eagerly await one. All right, so I texted him, are you joining the zoo, not Zoom? And he is talking about...
Explain to him this is the rocket presentation.
Okay, he may be telling the truth that he has not been sent an invitation to the Zoom, meaning Zoom. Did you send him the email inviting him to the Zoom?
I forgot one of my children. No.
No, I say KBW
It's
Cello.
happened before.
Obviously, she has a mailing list.
Well, Jeff isn't here.
So many beeps.
That's the microwave, and it's a miracle it's not interfering with the Wi-Fi, and I'm not sure why, because it does half the time.
Mark, do you remember a long time ago when we would operate our very first remote controlled cars? We had several of them, and it turned out they were all on the same frequency because they didn't know that they should put them on different frequencies.
That's common.
Synchronized driving?
It gets better because before that, we had a remote baby monitor. And when they first started getting remote phones, it was the same frequency as our remote baby monitor. So on our remote baby monitor, we would hear one half of an incredibly lame conversation between two teenage girls, but we only heard one half. It
We
was
heard the beta girl. All she
that's
did
very
was
interesting.
Say, oh,
she was terrible.
They were both actually saying that.
Uh-huh.
Are you moisturizing it, Joe?
Yes, it's quite dry here. The temperature is going to drop into the 20s tonight.
Oh.
Um,
I too have started keeping a moisturizing container next to my bed.
That's what keeps my hands looking so young.
I too have moisturizer everywhere because Maryland is so humid all the time that everyone runs air conditioners all the time. So the inside of every building is like 15% humidity, and I just die.
Yeah, that's what happens over here too. I have the intensive care ones.
Well, and based on the office building, I know in Denver they use a lot of electric heat.
Yeah, all of our appliances here are electric, all of them. I really wanted a gas stove, but no,
There's not a gas hookup.
there is not even a gas hookup in the house.
It's from 44. It's a pretty old.
You could get a propane countertop stove.
Oh, it's true.
Smokeless grill.
You have a grill. I might want to go that direction.
Just cook all your food on.
I actually want to get a propane like double burner in addition to the grill because that's the perfect thing for like flat top grilling
That's fair.
and for camping. And flat top grilling is better done outside because if you're going to sear steaks or hamburgers at like 500 degrees inside, you better have a real good smoke hood, which we do not have.
We have what looks as though it should be a really good smoke hood,
It's
but is
just
in fact
very, very old.
no.
So I've done that a few times on the flat top with steak, and it has filled our house with smoke.
Yeah.
Good thing you can open the windows there.
You would think that would be the case, but the previous person.
So they're those old counterweight windows,
Right.
and when they repainted, they painted the window seal over. So like, I can get in there with a knife and like undo the paint, but they're painted in. It's nuts.
That's pretty typical.
Yeah. So we have some newer windows that we can open, which are open actually behind Trey, but because we had cleaners come by.
He
earlier.
painted everything. He painted the doorknobs. He painted the door like just white. Painted over everything white. Yeah.
Which is why, if you want a door on the guest room, you're going to have to help us install it because for whatever godforsaken reason, he took down one of the doors.
And put it in the shed.
Yep, it's in the shed.
Yep.
Just where it
Nice to
lives.
have it.
Just
There's
gonna,
not even a little hole for the door.
just gonna take out this door, replace it with nothing, paint over the whole thing. That's the plan.
So here's the problem. It may
How do
be
you paint
warm.
over air?
The shed is more temperature controlled than the open air garage. So I'm hopeful that it will be okay.
It's
and if not,
it's in good shape.
we will buy a
controls are
door
there in
because
the
it needs
shed?
to happen.
Oh, Brad, we had a hard time hearing you. But let's let Brad begin.
He's chewing, so maybe we should hold on a minute.
Let's make him start right now.
I'm going to pin him, and then I'm going to mute myself except for when I ask questions.
I'm still texting with Keith. Apparently, an obligation was moved to this week that was not supposed to be this week. He asked when it is. I said now, and I don't think he's texted me back since then.
Okay, let us begin. I'm going to mute.
All right. Oh, wait, hold on. He just texted me back. Keith is not available right now. All right, let me do some stuff real quick. I realize I have something else to search for really quick. I have a lot of tabs open. Goodness. Oops.
See, I already forgot to unmute myself. Is the video online?
There is a video. There is a news clip in our Slack channel.
Right, but the video you're showing us is not online.
It is part of that news clip or a very similar video. Let me.
Okay. I was just wondering if I could get it not through Zoom, because then it wouldn't be double restreamed through Zoom's interface.
First of all, what I want to do is I want to. Sorry, I've got like 10 tabs open, so I can show you all the things I want to show you. All the background information. Here, I'll start with sharing this. So this is Spaceport America. You see Google Maps. Can you all see this?
Yeah, but I can hardly hear you.
Yep.
That's just my microphone in general. It's annoying.
So where is this located? Never mind. The consequences, I see it.
Yep. So it's just a bit east of Truth or Consequences, about an hour outside of town. Let me see. The other day I was able to find exactly where we launched from. Well, we launched from the vertical launch area. I'm not sure where. Here we are. We launched from right here. This little concrete pad out in the middle of nowhere. So let's see. I will do. This is our complete poster of what we presented to our faculty and whatnot.
Can you make different sections of it bigger?
I can.
And talk about it?
Perhaps zoom in. It is not letting me.
No, there's a little zoom button underneath the word insert. Way up high. Left. Yep.
Yep.
Yes. Maybe that's a little too big.
Oh, what did I do?
You made it a little too big.
All right, how about that?
Yeah, good.
So basically our goal was to launch a payload sphere at apogee and track it on its way down and have two separate little things coming down. So this is our payload and our instrumentation sphere, and I was not on that team, but it was evidently a nightmare to fit all of the necessary batteries and electrical components in there. This is the rocket we made. So I was in charge of actually assembling the rocket. That was my sub-team. So because we had so little time this semester, we more or less bought a pre-made kit and then modified it. So what you can't see is that all of the internal connections are custom machined aluminum bulkheads. And this is the coolest thing. This is one of our electronics boards had GPS tracking and automatically spat out this three-dimensional graph that you could automatically overlay with Google Maps so you could see where you've been. So that's what this is saying. So we launched from right here. And you see, is anybody else hearing that? I'm getting the Windows device connected sound every 30 seconds. Anyway, so you can see we have a little inflection here. That's where the parachute probably deployed. And then it drifted down and landed here. And let me This is what it looked like when it landed. You can see it landed all in one place with the logo facing upwards at a nice little angle, all very photogenic. Here's a better view. And we discovered when we found it that unfortunately the payload had failed to deploy. As you can see, the black sphere is still inside the rocket. This was caused by a mechanical failure of this 3D printed part. Although because the payload team wasn't able to get GPS tracking on the payload working, it's kind of nice that the payload didn't deploy because it meant we were actually able to recover it without wandering the desert for 5 hours looking for a 4-inch piece of plastic. That's most of the launch stuff. Here's all of us. You can see me with my insane hair that I need to cut, assembling the rocket. Oh, I can show you the... That should not be there. That is the wrong place for this to be here. Hold on. All right. Oops. Hold on. Let me stop sharing real quick. I gotta share again, and I ought to actually click the buttons to optimize for video clips. You see this?
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh shit.
Let's go! It's gone. Woo!
That was a much better video than the one they kept putting on that TV thing.
Yeah, the one
This is the only instance in which I'll ever be okay with vertical video recording.
Yeah, right. Like it is okay in this one instance.
Yep, yep. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, here
Nice job.
Very cool.
Here's a few of the people with the rocket. That's just a better view of it. This is our launch trail, so this automatically rotates vertical.
Did you have to build that also, or is that something that they gave
That
you?
was left over from a previous year. We did have to drag it out of storage, and the last team decided that they could put it away without cleaning all the grease off of it, so that was fun. But we just fiddled with it, fiddled with the connections, made sure all the rails were straight. We had to fix a few components. So like the last 3 semesters when we were working with our corporate sponsors, one of our projects was trying to replace this with something that A, had automatic rotation and elevation changes, so you didn't have to do, we didn't have to make it point north by having 4 guys stand out there and pick it up and move it. And we actually tried to make it fit on a trailer. And I think our corporate sponsors got that system working, but because we're no longer associated with them, we had to drag this out instead. The rest of this is just pictures from Spaceport America. So this is one of the old Virgin Galactic space planes sitting out in the desert. And I actually have this Google search tab open because I wasn't allowed to take pictures, but we saw this plane through some frosted glass in the do not take pictures of this area. That was fascinating. We also saw a very large fire truck. That was fun. Here, right, let me do this. This is me in the fire truck for scale. So apparently it's about 130,000 ton fire truck with.
Wow.
Here's a picture of the inside. Hold on, it's also had an infrared camera, so you didn't run over people in the smoke. And I don't have a video of me on this thing, but I did take a video of my friend on this thing, and I did get to ride on this thing.
It's nice of him to make you wear masks on it just in case you vomit.
Yeah, I had to. I did not ride for quite as long as these gentlemen because I had to stop sooner.
Have you been on one?
I've never had to, but that's hell on earth.
Did you have to do that, Mark? Did you have to go on something like that, Mark?
I've never been on anything like that.
They just shove him straight in the airplane.
What would I have to do that for? For work now?
We also visited.
I've almost done that in a CRJ.
We also
There's a
visited.
version for the Navy training, but it just spins us round and round like a regular swivel chair. That thing, like that awful. That looks rough.
Oh, and apparently those fire trucks are called something.
Oh no! I just it looks like a dune buggy.
A desert
Hold on.
dune.
Yeah.
Wait, look at the this is the suspension on this fire truck. Just the suspension probably weighs more than a normal car.
Holy crap.
So yeah, I visited this. This is where the fire truck was. This is a fire building. I bring it up because I got to sit in this room overlooking the fire station. And you see this very nice arched window?
Yeah.
He showed us how the curtains for this window don't work because if you stop them anywhere not at the bottom, they just fall back to the bottom because the guy who designed the curtains doesn't understand gravity. And also how the guy who designed this very nice tile dome doesn't understand thermal expansion, and so they're all cracking.
What was in all the don't take pictures area? Just old planes and rockets and
No,
stuff?
it was this. It was the Virgin Galactic's like proprietary current space plane that they used to send people up to space for $300,000 piece.
That is cool.
Looks like an animal.
So the two outer fuselages are the plane, and then the inner fuselage is what actually goes to space. So this thing carries it most of the way up, and then this thing engages rocket boosters and flies into actual space.
Show us the pictures big.
What?
Show us each picture bigger because it's hard to tell what they are.
What? This?
Click
Like this?
on the picture. That
Yes. Yes. Now click through the pictures.
Well,
Doesn't
no.
make sense. It's called Spaceship 2, but I clearly see 3 fuselages.
This is now just Wikipedia's view of it. So apparently this is all various views of it. Oh, well, that's a good view of it. This is just whatever's on Wikipedia for this.
That's
Spaceship also.
remains.
We also got to see from a great distance the spin launch system, who are people who think that it's a good idea to get things into space by centripetally slinging them like a slingshot.
That's pretty cool.
Can you show us the can you show it to us?
I did not take a picture of it because it would have just been a white speck on my screen.
Oh, because it was so far away.
Yeah. The problem is
that's pretty slick.
Both Dr. Gutman, who was our tour guide, and Dr. Hargather, who was our faculty advisor, is thoroughly unimpressed with the concept.
I mean, you can't do that with people, but
oh no,
maybe with like regular payloads that are bolted down.
I think Dr. Gutman said it was something on the order of 4,500 Gs.
Jeez.
Jeez.
Yeah, G's.
Jeez.
But he also said that in order to balance it, you have to have a counterweight equivalent to the payload you're launching. And then in order for it to be balanced after the payload is launched, you basically also have to launch the counterweight into the ground.
I guess you could launch supplies up there.
I think the idea is that you launch it into like past the thick parts of the atmosphere.
Show us the second picture from the left. That's that one, big. Huh. Yeah, that one. Make it bigger.
I cannot make it bigger. Well, I can.
Right click, open new tab.
It's the really cool system where when you zoom in, it keeps the picture the exact same size and makes everything else bigger without making the picture bigger. I love it when websites do that.
Huh.
View image. There we go.
Someone worked hard to do that.
I think that's what my weed whacker looks like.
Ah!
So we basically, from a great distance, just
No,
saw
it's
a white arch. I'm not
plastic
sure if this is
line.
the same people.
Wow.
What else do I have to show you?
1.5 hours spool up time.
Better than a rocket.
Tell us. Wait. Go back to the
I'm dizzy.
the map of the flight. Not the map, but
this.
Yes. How high did it get in miles? 2 miles above?
About 2 miles above where we were, which is about 3 miles total elevation.
That is impressive.
Cool.
Apparently, a few years ago, when we weren't doing payload stuff, a team managed to get to 4 miles and break Mach 1.
Wow.
But Dr. Hargather specifically requested that we not go too high above what we went, because if you go above about 19,000 feet absolute, then you break into a different airspace strata and have to get better, more intensive waivers.
Yeah, that's Class Alpha airspace. That's where the commercial flights are. That's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
So we didn't want to break into Class L, and even so, I think the FAA turned over control of the airspace over Spaceport America to Spaceport America for the duration of our flight.
Well, yeah, I'd hope so. You can't be like, all right, you guys just keep flying over this. There's a bunch of college kids just launching rockets, but they have like an 80% success rate.
Well, Can I just say it took all of what? 3 minutes total?
I mean, yes, but airplanes have run into each other, and you wouldn't think that would be possible. And they've run into each other not near airports, and you wouldn't think that would be possible.
Mark,
with enough repetition.
The success rate is, you want a lower success rate if you want to avoid crashing into it, because if you don't want to crash into a rocket, you want it to explode on the pad.
True. But I was saying, like, they have an 80% success rate, which includes it going not too high, not high enough, on track, not 4 miles sideways and then up, you know.
Is this still working? Hold on. I'm going to... No, that's bad. I'm going to remote access my school computer. Oops. Nope.
I really like the video optimization and what it does to the mouse.
I know, making it ultra tiny.
No, it like makes it like do these like lazy loops back and forth.
Yeah, that's Brad, of course. No, it isn't. You're right. It isn't Brad, because it's totally disconnected from what's going on.
Yeah, it's the mouse is being like smoothed out on the background because it thinks it's like being too jittery or something.
Wow, that is really weird.
Yeah, it's wild. It's tripping me out.
I like how when I'm trying to open a SolidWorks file, Microsoft is still like, do you want to open SolidWorks files with SolidWorks, or do you want to use a different program?
It's really hard to open files like this while Zoom is running.
I don't even want to imagine trying to design this in SolidWorks, honestly.
I mean, in the past, I've imagined knowing how to use SolidWorks.
I know how to use SolidWorks.
But I don't know how to use it.
I know how to design basic things in SolidWorks.
Spheres. Extruded cylinders. That's about as far as I got.
How about cubes?
Further than you.
Cheerios?
No, Mark.
Donuts?
I can do circular patterns in SolidWorks.
I don't even know what that means.
It means taking a extruded cylinder and making the same cut every 60 degrees around it, but only making one cut, and then just telling it to do it around it by itself.
Whoa.
Is this fascinating to you, Joellen?
You know, it is, but you know, I'm cleaning things up on my other computer and trying to finish up some final work stuff while I still have access to my laptop.
All right, so.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
This is the payload section. And.
Oh, wow. Can't
actually see the skin right now, but what's missing is that there is a skin attached to here with a hole right about here. Can you see where my mouse is?
No, we
No.
we can't see where your mouse is.
There's a hole here. Can you see the big blue box now?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, oh great. There's also attached to this green thing, there is another door that is like it's like half the total radius. So let me.
Wouldn't another view show that?
Probably. So you can see a spring down here, right? And you can see these tabs here, these little triangles here.
Triangles. You're going to have to blue them again because.
Yes.
Yep, there we
go.
Yes.
So basically, when this thing is locked in place, why can't I rotate this? I should be able to rotate this.
Because you didn't get a license, maybe.
No, it's just being very finicky. There we go. So this thing rotates around, and it has an aluminum door attached to it. And then, so it starts out like this, and the aluminum door is blocking the payload bay door. It's blocking the door in the outer skin. And then when it slides to here, these tabs are no longer blocking this cage from moving up because it slides into the hole. And the cage slides up, and oops. Slides up, and then this triangle interfaces with this slot and pushes out the door. So it's basically a method of making sure that the door opens and the payload is deployed with one motor movement instead of having to coordinate two different things.
What type of payloads do you have?
For this time, we just wanted to track the payload as it descended and just have like accelerometer data, pressure sensor data, altitude. And what we didn't end up getting working was live GPS tracking, which was unfortunate.
Well, and
what? Well, you had it recorded.
Yeah, we had it recorded, and because it came down with the payload, we were able to compare the payload data with the rocket data, and we found like a 0.27% discrepancy, which is very impressive. Especially since the payload was a basic Arduino board, and the main rocket was like a $400 bespoke Ames board. Who's drawing on my screen?
The item that is in blue, is that what failed?
Yes. So it sheared off here, probably when either from the acceleration or when one of the breach charges deployed a parachute.
Well, if you find rockets boring, you could probably get a really good career as the designer of the next technology advancement for Pez dispensers. When do you get bored of rockets?
Yes, it ejects the peg at you, the Pez at you.
It's on the ground. It jumps up 6 feet in the air.
A new gumball machine
launches
design.
one into your mouth.
This reminds me of Mark when he was a smaller child designing more deadly Nerf bullets so that they would hurt people and project further.
It was so that they would project further, not so that they would hurt more.
Mark wasn't attaching needles to Nerf guns.
That was just an unanticipated.
Mom, he wasn't modifying the bullets, he was modifying the guns.
No, he was modifying the bullets as well. And if something went further, but you encountered it at the same distance, would it have more force?
Yes, but not a significant amount. The true, so you can only modify a off-the-shelf Nerf gun so far. With the advent of 3D printers, people are now 3D printing their own Nerf rifles that can get Nerf darts like hundreds of feet. And like they do with the whole thing in like the Nerf aesthetic, so like lots of neon colors and stuff. It's pretty funny.
They are making such crazy Nerf guns these days. There's like Nerf crossbows, Nerf Gatling guns. I feel like there's a Nerf mortar out there. Isn't there a Nerf mortar?
There's been a Nerf mortar forever though, because it was basically just like a 2 foot long Nerf rocket with basically an air pump behind it. That's like one of the oldest ones.
Oh, you're right, it is.
Yeah, it doesn't explode.
Do you have anything else to add to your presentation?
If you have any questions, I can answer them.
Fiddly.
Dad, do you have any questions?
That's awesome, Brad.
We're frozen.
Mhm.
You have to unmute, Dad.
I have no further questions. I enjoyed seeing the presentation. I just wish Brad could have been a little bit louder.
Yeah, I'll probably be buying myself a new headset soon. Oh, well, I can share one more thing just for fun.
Maybe everyone else is hearing you, Brad, but I hear your voice fade away.
That's because I've been trailing off a bit.
So just
You can
Brad's
see
connection too.
this building
No,
is
we're
the
gonna have to wait till it moves there.
is the combined launch control and hangar bay for Spaceport America. And Dr. Gutman advised us to never make launch control and hangar bay as the same building ever again, because the fire codes to put both of those in the same place are apparently enormous. And there's this very fancy door that leads into like the middle top floor of the building that apparently was set up to have RFID tag recognizers, so it would automatically open one or a different door depending on who was approaching. So they wanted to have some like Wizard of Oz stuff where as the passengers approached it, like the door automatically opened in front of them and when they were 20 feet away and they were welcomed into the...
Very, very future.
Fancy.
But what happens? They forgot that all of their equipment behind the doors would also be generating radio frequencies, and so it never actually worked.
Oops. They forgot
So
to shield from their own RFID.
So
Yeah.
here, all of us walking down that ramp, we were asked to make a pose, so I did the Nixon sign.
Because everyone knows the Nixon sign from 1968.
It's true. It's very important.
1973.
Really timeless.
No, 74. When was he impeached? 73?
76.
No, it was not that late.
What time of the morning was this, Brad?
This was actually in the afternoon. So this was after, so we got there, we left New Mexico Tech at around 7:30 a.m., which means we got to Spaceport America around 9 or 10. And we encountered some problems. We had to run to Truth or Consequences to get supplies. That took 4 hours, which was 4 hours that I was not running to get supplies, so I was out in the sun. So I've gotten my first bad sunburn ever. First time I've ever actually burned enough to peel, which is an interesting experience.
Yep.
And so thankfully they were also running late, so they were able to give us a slightly abbreviated tour after we were done with our setup. So this is probably 4 or 5 in the evening. Here is that same building from the front, which is a very impressive view from the front.
Odd building.
Can you make it bigger? That picture? Yes. Yes.
It does look very impressive from the front.
Whoa.
Yeah.
The butt door.
Apparently.
Oh, can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Oh my God.
Apparently the whole is very near some historic trail, and so they were pretty much forced by the local government to make all their buildings blend into the surroundings so it wouldn't mess up any views. Ooh, you can see this is the motor at the back that's all burnt out.
Was it a solid propellant?
It was. So this is a centering ring. So the kit came with a outer tube and an inner tube specifically designed for this size of motor to slide into. So basically we have outer tube, inner tube, motor case, and then the motor inside of that.
Your great uncle Jerry was in the business of making those rocket cases. Designing them and making them.
The motor case or the rocket? It's the rocket body.
The motor case.
It's cool.
Since you just can't. So Pat has some questions. He was just able to rejoin us since he had to talk to the lawyer for a little bit.
How much did the rocket weigh and how much of it was fuel?
I think all told, we figured out it weighed about 65-ish pounds. And if I recall the specs, the motor itself was about 8 kilograms, so about 16 pounds.
But that was the motor. How much of it was fuel, though?
I think that was the motor by itself. Or the motor in like 16 or 17 pounds, well, probably more like 17 or 18 pounds.
And when you say motor, Brad, do you include the fuel with that, or is the fuel separate?
Well, it is mostly fuel, I think, is the rocket motor. So, well, what it was is that basically these things are designed to be reusable. So there's a motor case that is not consumed. And then into that, you put the motor fuel, which is consumed. And so the insert that you put in was, I think, about 8 kilograms. And then there was another few pounds for the motor case. Does that make sense?
Okay, so if I say this back to you, if I understand the motor weighs 50 pounds, the entire rocket weighs 65, I guess I'm still...
Sorry, I said 16 pounds for the motor.
Oh, okay. Okay,
So,
that makes much better sense. So then the fuel's some portion of that total weight.
The fuel is probably most of that total weight. I think the burned weight is still fairly close to 16 pounds, though.
Okay. Well, thank you.
But then you slide that 16-pound thing out again at the end of the day, and then your 5-pound motor case is still there and ready to be reused. So if I do this.
Well, and that's not bad if it only took 10 pounds of fuel to throw it. How high?
9 or 10,000 feet or so.
Okay.
Of course, it's a bit easier to go higher when you're starting at 5,000 already. So this outer black thing is not consumable, and the inner black thing is sold with the motor, and it is consumable.
Okay.
How long did it take you to put this whole thing, the whole project from beginning to end to the flight?
So 2 years ago, the rocket team has been working with White Sands research developers for many years. We call them wizards. And 2 years ago, they gave us the project of design a payload section, not the full rocket, just a payload section that would eject 4 payloads at apogee and track them when they descended to test the parachutes. And that was supposed to be a 2-semester project, as most of our projects are. And at the end of that 2 semesters, COVID hit and the launch was canceled. When we came back last fall, they had redesigned it and said that they only wanted to test 1 payload, so they wanted to eject 1 payload. And so we redesigned our system to optimize it for 1 payload ejection. And then that launch was also canceled from COVID. And then this semester, we were informed that Wizards had decided to no longer be involved with our team. And so we basically had half of the payload section that was left with us, and we had 1 semester to rebuild the payload section and to build an entire rocket around it. Which is why we went with pre-built stuff for so much of it and just assembled it.
And so you were saying that because you weren't sponsored, you had to get permission to go out and actually shoot the rocket off, correct?
Yeah, well, New Mexico Tech has been working with Spaceport America for many years, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
Okay.
How big was the team, Brad?
The first 2 semesters, it was 12 people, and then it was down to 11, and now it's down to 9. And 4 of those 9 are graduating, so I don't know what they're doing next semester.
Immediately, but maybe it was a coincidence.
Come again?
Sorry, we were turning off our camera because we're getting some lag.
We were having a lot of tech issues, so we're hoping that with the camera off, we can hear you better.
All right, let's see if there's anything else interesting. Yep.
Looks very cool, Brad.
That building, I still can't get over that look of the building as you're driving up to it. That is crazy.
Yeah, that's why I took a picture of it. It's very impressive. Here, let me
Like it looks like the kind of thing that would have a crazy spacecraft in the desert.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they were going for. So this is what it looks like from the top. So you can see you walk up this ramp and enter here.
Wow.
And it was supposed to be like engineers get this door automatically opened, technicians get this door automatically opened, and then the passengers get this door automatically opened for them.
Wow.
I did get to drive down this runway though, just for fun. And it's a lot bigger than it looks. Well, you can see it's 200 feet wide if you look at the scale.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
And it was we were all talking about how fun it would be to just bring a Corvette down to this place and just let it rip along this whole thing.
How long is the runway? How many miles?
Just based on this scale, it looks like at least a mile.
Wow.
Maybe 2. And again, it's like a 50 feet wide or 200 feet wide. Hold on, let me.
How long has the spaceport been there?
I think it's been in the planning for like a decade. I don't know, but I think it's been around for about a decade at this point, although it was planned before then. We had 3 launch pads available to us, one of which was for some reason pre-installed with rocks and craters, apparently to test landing equipment. So they literally had a concrete pad with a bunch of giant boulders and sand-filled craters in it, as opposed to the desert with a bunch of boulders and sand-filled craters in it.
Is this on the White Sands Missile Range, or is it off?
It's
away?
a bit of ways, I think. So yeah, it's. So you can see White Sands Missile Range, Base of America. So it looks like it's only about 10 or 20 miles.
On the other side of a mountain?
Yeah, I remember that mountain. I did not realize White Sands was right across from it. So this is through the consequences way up here, and you can see it actually looks like a significantly longer distance than it.
Yeah, you're really close to Las Cruces right there, I guess.
Where's Las Cruces?
Just to the west of there. That's funny. We're going to be driving through Las Cruces in a week.
No, Las Cruces is way down south, I think. It's way down here.
Oh.
It's another it's another better part of another hour south. Or another
It's east of I-25, right?
Yeah, he showed it.
This is I-25.
We got to drive along this route or this road at 2 a.m. at 4 a.m. Wait, no. Where's the impressive part of this road? Hold on. I don't know. Saw this dam. I didn't know there was a dam this big in the entire state.
Damn. Elephant butt reservoir.
Oh wait, I wonder.
What do they do with the rest of the elephant?
I don't know.
Liquidate it.
I wonder if it's on. Oh yes, this was a very fun landmark. Seeing these 2 massive green trees in the middle of the desert. I noticed those every time we went past.
You know, when Daddy and I biked in that area, the roads were not as big because it was a long time ago. And on the map, because GPS didn't exist, covered picnic benches were labeled because they were the only sources of shade.
Where was I?
Oh, can't hear you.
It looks so exposed.
It is.
It turns out that was a 12,000-foot runway.
Yep. At some point along here, we were on a.
That's two miles.
Impressive mountain.
That must be the one they filmed that Fast and the Furious movie on.
I looked at a thing. It said that you would need a 30-mile runway to film that.
I know. What a great scene. What a great franchise.
The most recent one, they fight a submarine.
Yes, but there's one coming out in July. I'm pumped.
Oh, this is where it was. Where we're just casually suddenly dropping along basically a huge cliff for no reason.
Huh.
Anyways.
Well, congrats on a successful launch. That's an awesome project. I know you put a lot of work in, so.
Yeah, that is sweet, Brad. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
And I can show you the little pin I got, which I enjoy because it's their logo, and their logo is an excellent logo. It is basically Bird meets Star Trek, and it is excellent.
Huh. Can you put it even closer to the camera? Oh, camera. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Huh?
I love Bird Meets Star Trek. That's wonderful.
So, was that your whole grade for the semester, or was that just one of your classes? Oh,
We
can't hear
couldn't
back.
hear you at all.
That was only one of my classes this semester.
Okay.
So for mechanical engineers, there is freshman design, sophomore design, senior design 1 and 2, and junior design 1 and 2, and senior design 1 and 2. And I don't know why they call it sophomore design because there's no design. But freshman design, you have a semester-long pre-made project, and then for senior design, for junior and senior design, you have a 1 to 4 semester-long legitimate project, which may have corporate sponsors. And that's half of your grade. Oh, that's a significant part of it. So it's standard engineering is you have to do a capstone project where like a full engineering project from start to finish. And New Mexico Tech is unique in that they offer the opportunity to do a 4-semester capstone project.
Did you have a corporate sponsor?
For the first 3 semesters, we had White Sands Research and Developers, and then they informed us at the beginning of this semester that they were no longer wish to be involved with us. I do not know why. How many semesters is the mechanical engineering capstone at UNM, Granddad?
Are you asking me?
Well, yeah, you judge them sometimes, don't you?
Well, the ones I judge is a 1-semester project. Senior design.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite things about New Mexico Tech is the fact that there's 4 semesters of that instead of just 1.
But if you go into the SAE, if you sign up for the SAE car, the race car, that's a 3-semester project.
One of my best friends, who was named Brock Williams, coincidentally, at school, is not only on our Baja SAE project for both of his junior and senior semesters, or he will be by the end of the time he's out of school, but he volunteered for that project as a freshman and as a sophomore. So he will basically leave having been on that team for 4 full years.
Good for him.
Yeah. And they're also in a very awkward situation of having 8 members on a team that normally has 10 to 15, and he basically hasn't gotten any sleep in the last month.
You should tell people what one of your jobs was with respect to this rocket team the last couple of semesters. It was unusual. Only exists.
That I was the safety officer?
Yes, explain that.
I was in charge of I was basically just, the safety officer in charge of making sure everybody is not being terribly unsafe. I had to set up in-person COVID meeting logs so we knew who was meeting with whom in person this semester and last semester. And now at the end of the semester, I have to put together a whole litany of documents about anything in our labs and what could be possibly dangerous in the labs and making sure nobody's killing themselves in our labs.
You have to understand that to us, that's fairly unusual. At least to me, I should speak personally.
I would assume that most projects in the real world have safety officers.
Nah.
I've never had one.
There's never been a safety officer over my parenting.
Wait. Yeah, I'm kind of with Brad on this one just because I've never worked in a job that doesn't have a safety officer, but maybe I'm different.
You ever worked in a lab that does or that does not?
That does not.
Yeah.
Because the Navy is super into having safety officers on everything.
Yeah, manufacturing, you have them on every floor, so.
Same for you, Mark?
I'm sure there's safety officers in manufacturing. I walked into a new area that I'm going to be working in today, and there were just 10 people all having a nice loud conversation without any masks on. So, yeah, all unhappy with that.
A lot of the time we just get our security officers like doing double duty as a safety officer. They'll just send out emails every once in a while saying, you know, don't leave the door open or don't let somebody follow you into the lab. Like, you know.
Or
that's part of their job.
Yeah.
Making sure all the college students remember to wear long pants and closed-toed
Right.
shoes.
No sticking your fingers into the machinery, no. Yeah.
I've been taking the machine shop class this semester, so I've been learning how to use a mill and a lathe, which has been great fun.
Those are great skills to have.
I'm not sure I'm learning the skills. I'm not actually learning the skills, but I certainly am laying the groundwork to be taught it much more easily if any job
You're
wants
at
me to do it.
least you're getting first pass. That's important to eventually kind of understanding it.
Yeah.
When I was in school, we had to lathe our own stress test specimen, and then we had to figure out how long we wanted to heat it to make it as strong as possible.
They made you work a lathe?
You bet.
I think UNM has machine shop as a required freshman class. And the only reason New Mexico Tech doesn't is because we simply do not have the number of machines or a space big enough for that many machines because of how big mechanical engineering is.
That's fair.
Trey, the reason, and I think it's very wise, is you have all these, not particularly me, but you have all these unbelievably brilliant people. And if you don't work a lathe and you don't know how to draw what you want created on the lathe, and you don't work each piece, then you're going to make really stupid recommendations to the people who eventually make your inventions.
Well, also it's that
practical application.
Yeah.
Having first-hand experience on what is easy to machine is very important. Knowing what is like a 5-minute job and what that looks 1% different is a 5-hour job is a useful skill to have.
Absolutely. Designing for manufacturability is huge. They're always looking for new engineers that have that experience or that perspective.
But then, ironically, the woman who is at Los Alamos Labs won the stress test. And she had put
an old classmate of yours?
Yeah, she was my study mate even. And she had put it in an oven for a specified amount of time at a specific temperature and went to change the temperature to, control it. And somebody had changed the temperature. And she had no idea how long it had been at that new temperature or anything. And she adjusted it, and it turned out that whatever happened created the best specimen.
She won a prize.
It wasn't replicable, but
nope. She totally won. I mean, you win a gold star. I mean, I don't even know if you put it on your resume. It's ridiculous. Nobody but MIT people would know what it means. But
one of the capstone design teams here, which is basically the capstone team for all the singletons whose team ended last semester and they don't have a new team to go on, is not a team, but it is a bridge building competition. So build a bridge, yay big, that can support 1 pound exactly, basically. And so that is also a competition. And some of our professors are also throwing their hats into the ring at that competition.
Nice.
And you won't be there anymore, right?
Nope, I graduate in 3 weeks or so.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hooray!
Yay.
So what's next, Brad?
Next, I'm definitely going to try to get a job at one of the labs or some interesting company around here. I can't decide if I've talked to many people, and I have had many people strenuously tell me that I should go to grad school as soon as possible if I'm going. And I've had many people also tell me that I should wait at least a few years so I can get experience before I go to grad school.
So I think it depends on if you want to pay for grad school yourself and then have a higher starting earning potentially 3 years later or 2 years later, whatever, after you've paid grad school prices. Or if you want to start working right away and then do grad school while you're working, but work pays for it.
Well, also, I don't have enough internship experience because I haven't had an internship yet. I don't know what field I want to be in. So I don't know what focus I would be, what professor I would want to attach myself to. And of course, at Tech, you can get a Master's of Engineering, which is just 2 more years of classes. Or you can get a Master's of Science, which is 2 more years of classes, and you are attached as a research assistant to a faculty member. And
Right.
they give you basically a capstone project that you work by yourself over those 2 years and effectively have to defend a thesis on it.
Right.
And I assume you got the Master's of Science, Mark?
Yes, I have an MS.
And
But I don't think they do MEs for computer science. Maybe for computer engineering.
so they do, Tech does do MEs for mechanical engineering, but I think most of my professors would slap me for suggesting I get one.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably also just what you want to do with it, right? If you want to stay more research oriented or more implementation oriented. Like I know a couple of people who have MEs, and like I think for a lot of the jobs they wanted, that was just the degree to get.
Also,
And like I also did, since I did a master's project instead of a master's thesis, I did what they call a terminal master's. Like if you do a project instead of a thesis, you're not going to be able to get into like a PhD program with the more practical oriented master's project versus a more research oriented thesis.
Yeah, I'm not sure what we do here. I think it's a little bit of each.
Brad, I think I sent you information on the fact that UNM now has an online master's in mechanical engineering specializing in space.
I didn't see that. I did see an email from you. I'm not sure if I saw that. Let me search for it.
This was a while back. I sent it to you, so it wasn't recent, but it's on their website, so it's no problem finding out about it. But the entire master's is online.
I'm not sure if I want to do an online master's, but I will certainly look into it. Again, that's like I didn't plan coming here to go into aerospace engineering, but the design team I ended up on means that I have experience and could probably get a very good job. You know, I would have a much better chance of getting a job at something very good like SpaceX or Virgin Galactic than your average bachelor's graduate. So if I'll probably apply to those places, and if I can get a job there, that sounds like a great place to work. Although I hear those places work their engineers to the absolute bone.
They're high burnout places where they basically are expecting people to work there for a couple of years right out of school before they have families and use it as a launching point.
Yeah.
But I've heard from multiple people who've done software engineering or mechanical engineering there that it's just like
80-hour
churn city, right? Most people don't stay past 3 or 4 years.
I've heard the
I mean, but that could be what you're looking for if you want to eventually go back for another degree, but it depends what you want.
Or if you want to make money quick.
You have options.
Anybody can crush it out for 2 years also. Like sometimes that's just
that's the Navy talking.
Yeah, that's fair. You're right.
No, I don't. I am speaking as a mother. I do not want to encourage my child to go into a situation, voluntarily into a situation with poor work-life balance. If there's a war and he has to go into the military, there's obviously going to be poor work-life balance. That's an exception. But yeah.
Speaking of the military, you could take your bachelor's and go do something in the Navy or
in the bookstore. There is a flyer. There is right now a flyer in my bookstore, not for be a Navy officer, but for be a Navy nuclear propulsion officer. There was an entire flyer for that one specific job.
Yeah, it's because they're hurting so bad. Those dudes do their minimum and then get paid way more in the civilian sector. So the Navy cannot get them to stay past a minimum
But they
requirement.
generally end up on submarines, though. Yeah.
Well, a submarine or an aircraft carrier, that's the only place with nuclear reactors.
If you're talking about places with good work-life balances, stationed on a submarine or an aircraft carrier is not like the first thing I would think of.
Wasn't
Hey,
Korea
at least on an
nuclear?
aircraft carrier, I'd have my own bed.
You
No.
fit.
Wait, no. I'd be an officer. I'd have my own bed no matter what.
Huh.
What were you going to say, Rosellen?
Nothing. It's all
Oh.
good.
Here, let me grab something.
We'll allow it.
First of all, I can show off one of my 90% made parts from machine shop.
Closer to the mic.
Speak closer to the mic, and you have to
Turn your background
move
off.
your background in order for us to see it,
I'm turning it off.
and move
Follow
your
the
mic closer
microphone.
to you.
So this is basically just designing different diameters and threads and whatnot. The thread is very interesting to do. And here is that I just bought at the bookstore, my one size fits everyone but me graduation cap.
Get a haircut.
I am
Hippie.
absolutely getting a haircut very soon.
We've got clippers.
Oh, while you still have a machine shop access, I've got a bunch of threaded rods I need you to make me.
Out of what? You gonna
So apparently, so the shoulder rest for the old Yamaha violin I have has two brass rods that you screw in and out of the little things on the shoulder rest that insert into the violin, and they're too short. And I contacted Yamaha USA customer service, and they're apparently like a custom pitch and a custom diameter on the rods, so you can't buy anything in any hardware stores. So they actually, like when I told them I was like, taller than your average violin player, they had some guys in like their brass machine shop just cut two extra long ones and send them to me. But like, why would you use like a non-standard pitch for your screws? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Oh, Mark, speaking of which, I had to tap some holes for the bulkhead plates. And I had to tap some holes for the breech plates to put shear pins in for our separation system. And so I got to tap 440 holes. Those were delicate. So do you actually want me to machine something for you?
No, probably not, because I have no way of measuring the pitch. I could take a picture of it and be like, it looks like this.
That could turn out very poorly.
Go online and figure it out. I know it sounds weird, but also there are tools. Probably if you went to your local college, there are tools that will measure pitch for you. What, Joellen?
I think we're going to take off because we're hungry.
All right, Brad.
Wonderful, Brad. Thank you so much for inviting us.
You're welcome.
I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Bye.
It was great to see
Love you all.
Bye.
No. You're good, babe. It's just intro.
I think that's the end of Brad's presentation, but the only thing that Dad and I wanted to tell you, Brad, is that we decided to do the joint party on Thursday in between your graduation and Yuri's graduation.
Yep.
But then probably Daddy and I will take
Where
you
is the party?
to dinner on Saturday or Sunday, whichever. Where it'll be at Granddad's house, right, Granddad? Already 2 cousins have said they're coming, so.
2 of your cousins?
Yeah.
It's gonna be at Granddad's house, but Mom and Dad are gonna show up a couple hours late because they gotta box all your stuff up first.
No, it's on Thursday.
My graduation looks like it's on Tuesday or Monday. I think it's on Tuesday.
What?
My graduation.
Your graduation's on Saturday.
Saturday. No, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong month on my calendar. So we're talking about the Thursday after that
And
Saturday?
you're certain that you're graduating, right?
I have.
He already has a hat. He's good.
I have compulsive. No, I had to buy the hat at
Anyone
the
can go
bookstore.
buy the hat.
Stop
I
twisting.
have
Sorry.
checked it multiple times. I have checked the walking list multiple times to find my name, and I managed to find it on there every time. You put this thing up here, right?
Yes. And you move it once you've graduated. From one.
Yeah, nobody at RIT did that.
Did you throw your hats up in the air?
No. There, I don't know if you remember, there was like about 60,000 people graduating at the same time as me.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody wants their hat back.
It was
So
just a
no,
cue.
so if you let go of your hat, you might not get it back, and you might not be able to keep your tassel. So nobody actually throws it.
Oh, this is a stupid little tassel. Apparently engineering is orange at this school, which is very disappointing.
It's orange at my school too.
Really? Maybe that's a
We
standard
didn't
thing.
have engineers at my school, so.
Yes, you did.
Ah, nerd.
My school didn't have engineers either.
Well, you guys should have gone to conservative art schools, not liberal art schools.
We lost all of that because of your adjustment.
I'm pretty sure my answer is going to be, though, I am too bad at math to do your suggestion, though, Brett.
What was my suggestion?
What was it? What did you say about their schools?
I don't remember.
No, that's fine.
We just absorbed a different college.
Clark.
Yeah, Clark just absorbed Becker. Becker is done for.
Oh,
So
yeah, I read about that.
and they had a lot more engineering and game design. So now we have the Becker School of like engineering and game design. So we'll have a little bit more credibility instead of just biochemistry and psychology.
All I know about RIT is that it costs $63,000 a year now.
Wow.
Absurd.
I think tech is still at like
Yeah, it's
$8,000
wild
a year. Not
And guess how much they reduced tuition during coronavirus?
0.
None. It was
Yeah.
just
That's insane.
There, I've been like keeping up on like some RIT forums and stuff, and like, oh my god, it's just like burnout city.
yeah, I feel like
Of course, it's just the people who are posting about it, right? So
Well, and all the schools did that, and I don't understand it because their operating costs went way down. I understand they still have to pay their tenure staff, but like and you can cut the grass or whatever, but I don't know. Like I feel like your operating costs went way down, but you charged exactly as much.
yeah, I don't understand what some of these schools do because they have endowments that are growing every year that are like exponentially more than it costs to operate the school.
They're saving up for their next building or whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
the buildings are typically from donors, which is wild.
Yeah, that's fair.
the upfront cost of switching over to all these computer systems might be a little bit bigger.
We can't hear Brad again.
What?
Sorry.
I heard him fine.
It's on. My lips are brushing against my microphone. I don't know what more to do.
Turn it back up, I guess.
So, Mark, your looks RIT's graduation rate, it says, is 66%.
What's the entrepreneur rate?
The what rate?
Entrepreneur. How many people leave early because they started a company?
Well, the
At
guy who
RIT, a
invented
lot,
jQuery
yeah.
left. Was at RIT.
I feel like RIT is a weird school too because it's not as I don't know, just being an outsider and not actually going there, but seeing how it operated from the outside. They definitely have a lot of students that come in, already with companies or they're already on a certain track. It didn't feel like the kind of college where, I went to a liberal arts school where we had sciences and engineering and everything, but it definitely had a whole different feel in terms of the student body than RIT did.
RIT also accepted everyone, and then people would
Filled them out.
self-select out
Yeah.
in the first year.
Yeah.
I'm looking and it says UNM's acceptance rate is 94% and graduation rate is 44%.
What is the same for RIT, Mark?
Google says 71% acceptance, 66% graduation.
That's the reason you got in, Mark, I guess.
New Mexico Tech is 80% acceptance and 49% graduation.
Say that again, 89% acceptance?
80% acceptance, 49% graduation. I think the nationwide average is about a 50-50 graduation rate.
I was so thankful you were accepted there, man.
Yeah, considering I was too lazy to apply to any other schools.
No, actually, I was talking about Mark. I knew you were going to be accepted.
Hear that, Mark?
Oh, Mark had a very rough high school. I was writing things like, as your guidance counselor, this is a young man with potential. And then not really being able to write anything else.
Yeah, and then we got to nice, hard schools, and we had to work, and we worked well.
Yes, thank God.
I'm gonna fade away.
All right, thanks, Dad.
Bye,
Good to
Granddad.
see all
Great
of
to
you.
see you.
Nice to see you.
Congratulations on the launch, Brad.
Thank you.
I will stop recording too.